Huh? Oh, hey there, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Dancing Johari. And well, it's summer. It's hot. And I've still got some mermaid-esque ideas that I'd like to try. Something different, a little special. We should get started though. To the workstation! Okay, so I'm going to do a mood board this time. A little different, I know. But I'm thinking of a beach babe who dreams of being a mermaid. Kind of like the opposite of Ariel. And she longs for a tail, loves to swim. And of course, what mermaid doesn't love seashell and sea life, right? Welcome to my project box. Inside, well, we've got some shoes. We've got a top that looks very seaweedy. I got both of those from Lady Dynamite Creates. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I love them. And inside we've got a Ghoulia doll. There's a massive mismatch between her torso and one leg and the rest of her, so she's gonna need some paint. But that's okay. Let's start with the prep. First way, lop off her hair and cut it as short as we can. Then we're going to put her in hot boiling water so we can remove her head. The reason I do this is, well, the reason a lot of people do this with boiling water is it softens the vinyl, puts less stress on the neck. Once the head is off, I tried using a chopstick. Sometimes I can get a chopstick to grab the plugs and pull them out, and then I can pull them out all the way with the pliers, but in this case, it was not to be moved. It was all I could do just to get them out, even with the pliers. It took a little while. But, well, we got it done. I got it done. Next, taking 100% pure acetone, I went ahead and removed the factory paint. Just love revealing how the sculpt actually looks underneath the paint, but in this case the sculpt is really awesome. There we go. All done with the prep, for the most part. Off camera, I went ahead and painted her scalp reddish brown, and I went ahead and started plugging it with two different kinds of hair. That's both nylon hair from the Doll Planet. One is braided, one is not. I will have all the materials that I use in this video listed in the description box below. Once I finished plugging all the new hair, I went ahead and separated it off so I wouldn't lose track of the part. And using Galaxy glue from the Doll Planet, I went ahead and secured the plugs in place. First by pouring in some glue, and then using a brush to swish it around to make sure that all the plugs got the glue on it. This will keep them from pulling out. After letting it dry for about a day or two, I went ahead and reattached the head to the body. The reason being, we need to give her some paint, and well, it looks better when you airbrush if you don't put on the head afterwards, I've discovered. So we're going to have less chance of chipping this way, at least around the head and neck area. I went ahead and masked off the hairline with pins and a bit of cloth. I use a bit of performance fabric for this that I have just laying around. Reason being, this particular bit isn't being used for anything special, and I have a lot of it, and it stretches, which is a good bonus. There we go. Once all the hair is covered and completely out of the way, I went ahead and tied her up by her hair, took her outside, and primed her. And then after the primer was dry, I gave her some color. The color I'm using here is called Barbarian Flesh, and it's by Army Warpaints. And once the body is completely covered, I let it dry. Unfortunately, I think this particular bottle of paint is a little old. It's separated on me, so I ended up having to use my old standby of a makeup sponge and the watered down paint, which is a modeling paint. It's meant for miniatures. Once that was completely dry, I hit it with a couple coats of Mr. Super Clear, let that dry, and then I began blushing the doll. Unfortunately, I don't think much of the pinks or tans I used in this showed up much. Sorry about the shaky camera. I need to figure out another way of setting it up so that if the box shakes a little, the camera doesn't shake too. I also used some little miniature paint brushes that I got off of eBay. I've seen Lady Dynamite use these, and I decided to give it a try, and oh my god, what a difference it makes in doing small areas like the lips and above the eyebrow. It really did make a difference. It made it a lot less messy for me to do the blushing part, and I felt like I had more control. It was great. Then taking my some watercolor pencil in a neutral tone that won't show up very well. It'll show up, but it won't, you know, I might be going over it again later. I just decided to go ahead and establish the eyes. You know, the position of the eyes, where I want the irises to be, where I want the waterline to be, all that good stuff. After another coat of Mr. Super Clear and letting it dry again, I decided to continue on my face up. Give it a little bit of gray at the top of the eye just to give it a little bit of depth. And then I started in on the eyeline. I also added the creases above the eye. Then I added a little bit of color at the edges, at the corners of the eyes, first with white, and then a little bit of red for the waterline. Let's face it, there's a little bit of pink or red in all of our eyes at the corners. You know, blood vessels and everything being where they are. And for this doll, I decided I wanted a really dark set of eyes, so I decided to just use black. Why not? And because I had messed up a little bit, there is a little bit of a smudge near her nose, so I decided to cover it up and make it into some freckles. And then I added freckles to her body too. I added a little bit more red to the corners of the eyes for the waterline and the sclera. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. If you find that you're having trouble building up color, it's usually another time to use another coat of Mr. Super Clear. Add a little bit more color to the lips. And I decided it wasn't quite enough, so I decided to go with a light red. Wasn't sure why. I just really wanted her to have red lips. Why not? She's a beach babe. She's out there. She's sunning, but so I wanted a mostly natural look, but why not give her a little bit of oomph in the lips? You know, a little va-va boom. Then I drew in her eyebrows with a copper toned watercolor pencil. Drew in the eyelashes. Then outside I went for another coat of Mr. Super Clear. Coming back, we're just working on building up more color. Sorry about how far out this is this time, but I guess I decided to vary just a little bit on how wide or close I wanted to be on the shots. And for some reason, my camera decided to go blurry. Sorry about that. It has an autofocus feature, and sometimes if you don't get it to focus just right, or if something moves it loses the focus. I didn't realize it because I was working, and it was above my head, so sorry. Now at this point, I had gotten out gouache paints to add more color to the eyes, particularly the whites of the eyes and the black of the eyes. I wanted those to be really super dark. And then I also painted in the eyelashes. Again. Trying to keep everything as nice and thin and detailed as I can. I also went over the eyeliner too to make it really pop. I wanted that to be super dark, like as if it was real makeup. Anyway, so the vision I see for this particular beach babe is that she's a sea maid. She's not a full-out mermaid, but she dreams of the sea often. She's kind of like Ariel's opposite. Ariel fell in love with the land and with a prince, and this girl is in love with the sea. She's in love with the tales about mermaids and mermen and all the sea creatures. I just see her as really being just somebody who, well, like me, is an amateur mermaid and just really, really enjoys and swimming and being in the water. It's like my zen place. I added whites to the eyes and a little bit of highlights to the eyelashes. I think I added a little too many. Oops. And some to the eyebrows. A little bit to the creases over the eyes too. And I went over the dark of the eyelashes again. Added highlights to just below her eyebrows and above her lip in the Cupid's bow. And at the corners of her eyes, just below the eyeliner. I went back and fixed any details that looked like they had gotten smudged. Let her dry. Hit her with another coat of Full Coats Mr. Super Clear. And then once that was dry, it was time for a gloss varnish for the eyes and lips. I cannot explain it. It's just so much fun making those parts shiny. A couple days later, I showed a picture to a friend, and they shared that they didn't think she was quite done yet on her face. I decided I agreed, and I took out some mica powders and some glue and some acrylic paints, and I decided to give her a little bit more va-va-voom over the eyes. I wanted a little bit more eyeshadow. So taking glue and carefully adding mica powder with one of my micro brushes. I just had a little bit of fun with it. First with blue, then I added a little bit of gold, which unfortunately I think gets covered up later. I also added a little bit of white to the corners, just above the eyeliner. And as you can see, I've lost the eyeline. Oops. Time to fix that. And we've also lost all of the eyelashes. And the creases, so let's fix that. First with the creases, and I'm using acrylic model paint here. I also, using a little bit of white, I added a little bit of highlights just above those creases. Added in the eyelashes again. And then added in some highlights around the eyelashes, which, as I said, I think I did a little too much of. It kind of loses a little bit when it's done. But at the same time, I'm very pleased with how it came out. She looks really nice. After that, I did a quick boil wash to her hair and let it dry. Then I quickly combed it out and braided it. Now for her outfit, I was going to make her a little hip scarf with this material, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling a teal vibe for that top, and I really want to use teal for the heels, the heel part of which are shells on the shoes. So why not? By the way, this is acrylic paint, lumier jacquard paint. You can use this on a lot of different kinds of surfaces, including fabric. With plastics, it adheres and is permanent pretty much straight away. With fabric, however, you have to heat set it to make it permanent. Oh my gosh, it makes those heels just pop. Now, the way that the sides were molded, it looks like waves in the sand to me, like from when the waves wash out. So I went ahead and made it the base is sand colored. Made the ribbon purple, the star gold, of course. Then I had given it a little bit of a wash with black, watered down black paint. So I went back and highlighted over the ridges just to make them pop. Using these same techniques, I also did her little necklace, which looks like little shells. Now, I want her to have a tail, but it's got to be removable. So I tried sewing on the machine. My machine didn't want to cooperate with this fabric at all, so I hand sewed it. Then, using a spare Ghoulia doll that I had wrapped up in plastic, I went ahead and painted on the scales by hand. First with black, and then going back and highlighting above the line I just drew with gold. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, as I said, this stuff has to be heat set. I also made a matching hip scarf, but I had used purple for the shadows, and I think that came out a little too light. It doesn't show up as well on camera. But I went ahead and heat set it anyway with my iron. You have to let it sit for 24 hours, and then you heat set it. So this is like a day or so later. Once that's done, it's time to put her together. Oh my god, I'm so excited. And well, I was so excited, it took me a little bit to decide on a name. I did finally decide on one. It was today. Introducing Shelby. I figured a girl who loves shells, Shelby would just be a great name for her. Plus, she loves the ocean. Hey, I know how much you love the ocean. I know how much you love to swim. So, I hope you don't mind, but I made a little something for you. A little surprise. I hope you like it. Oh, it's okay. I'm glad that you really like it. Thanks for coming along with our journey for making Shelby with us. What will you create today? I can't wait to see. Please tag me on Instagram. And stay safe, stay tuned. Bye.